The NBA Finals may be over, but the offseason is just getting started. Also, the NBA Draft took place last week in Brooklyn. Tonight, we also break down the trade between the Steelers and the Dolphins and more. Our Nation Sports Show is next. Our Nation Sports Show. Following the conclusion of the NBA Finals, the NBA's offseason is already off to a hot start with multiple trades and signings. One of those signings was a max money contract signed by last year's league and Finals MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Tonight, we also bring to you the latest breaking news in the National Football League. Tonight, we break down the details of the trade that took place between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins. And tonight, we bring to you another Top 5 special. Tonight, all of us here on the show will rank our Top 5 favorite championship teams that won it all in the NBA. From Jordan in Chicago to Showtime in LA to the Celtics' multiple dynasties to the bad boys of the Detroit Pistons to Shaq and Kobe's three-peat in LA to the San Antonio Spurs dynasty to the Celtics' victory of KG, Pierce, and Allen to Dirk and the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors dynasty. Tonight, we rank them all.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
It's 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 Pacific, 6 Central. You know what that means. Live for another edition of our Nation Sports Show right here on the World Wide Web, right here on YouTube.com. In the 11th hour, what is going on, everybody? I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here tonight. For right now, I am riding solo, waiting to hear an update on if Kevin will be able to join me here today. And unfortunately, due to not feeling good today, Ezra is not going to be able to join us here today, and Joey won't make it tonight. But have no fear, they have sent their list of their top 5 favorite championship teams to win it all in the NBA. I have my list as well, and I'm pretty sure Kevin has his list as well. But before we get to all of the craziness that has gone on in the offseason so far in the NBA, we have to plug the social media platforms up first on Twitter, or as it is called today, X, at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where right now, yours truly is riding solo in the captain chair, live on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff to your family and your friends that love the world of sports just as much as we do. And also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook, Instagram, and where they are live on YouTube on most Saturday nights, where it is all right for fighting and talk a little pro wrestling. At YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, like I said, are all at the Nation's Corner, and the show is live on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. The guys and gal recap all things professional wrestling. And before I get into the sporting festivities over the last week or so, I did want to talk about Busted Open and the launch of the channel today, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Who would have thought that Busted Open, a pro wrestling show talking all things about wrestling, a radio show talking about wrestling, many people years ago would have laughed in your face that, talking to a random person, oh, there's a radio show talking about wrestling? Yeah, there is. They would have laughed in your face and said you're crazy. Well, sorry, we're not crazy. We are passionate about professional wrestling. Just like myself, Ezra, Kevin, and Joey were also passionate about sports. And that's why we've been doing this show for 4 years. But there's a lot of us that are passionate about professional wrestling. And we eat, sleep, and breathe professional wrestling. We love this. And today, July 1st, 2025, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 went live on Sirius XM on channel 156. So freaking cool to have pro wrestling content on what used to be known as Fight Nation. And since professional wrestling has become the hotbed that it is, people want to talk wrestling. And people will consume wrestling on hours upon hours. And that is why professional wrestling has taken over the SiriusXM airwaves, and now they have their own channel on SiriusXM. And by far the highlight of the day for me was The Undertaker calling in to talk to Dave LaGreca and the Bully Ray. And not only did Taker call in, but he called in doing his impression of Wildfire, Tommy Rich, to a literal T. It was spot on. Spot freaking on. I literally thought that was Tommy Rich because it was that perfect. And when he said, he made a reference to Devon, and then Dave was like, "It's Bully. This is Bully, not Devon." He's like, "Oh, you're that Dudley that couldn't work," and they both started laughing. And then he goes, "What's up, man?" And I'm going, "Holy shit, that was the Undertaker!" So good, he had me fooled. It was so spot on. It was hilarious to hear Taker do that impression. I did not know he could do that impression of Wildfire Tommy Rich. It was incredibly spot on. And also cool, Sam Roberts, his first edition of Not Sam Wrestling on the channel. Very, very good show today. And Jonathan Coachman also debuted his show Off the Ropes with Tommy Dreamer co-hosting today. So if you are a fan of professional wrestling, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 is the channel for all of us wrestling fans. So check it out on 156. And again, also I want to mention the great Doug Mortman was on the show this morning with Bully and Dave during the first hour. So cool hearing Doug's voice with Dave because I've been a fan of Busted Open since 2011 when I discovered the show out of the blue. I was like, wait, they're talking wrestling? And this was during Mania time. And it was just so cool, to hear a wrestling show. And ever since that day in April of 2011, I've been a loyal listener of Busted Open. And Busted Open's still doing their thing 7 days a week. But now there's other wrestling shows coming onto the network of Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7, and probably more to come because, as we know, pro wrestling is hot right now and people want to talk about it. So, but we're not a wrestling show. We are a sports show. And there is a lot that has gone down in the last week or so when it comes to the NBA. The off season of the NBA is already started. And also the NBA draft took place last week. And obviously the big headline, Cooper Flag, shocker, shocker, was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. And look, Cooper Flag, he's young, he's 18. I think he can bring, highlight reels and, he can become a great player as long as he learns and grows. Because as we all know, when you're a rookie and you're thrown into the lion's den, it's tough out there for some players, to handle that pressure, especially, well, obviously when LeBron, was drafted, 22 years ago, when he was the most scrutinized rookie, in NBA history, arguably. Right there, obviously back in the day with Michael Jordan, and back in the 80s. And Cooper Flag is going to have a lot of pressure on him, coming into the NBA. And Nico Harrison traded away Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't know what Mr. Harrison did to get that number 1 overall draft selection. He must have had a spell. He must have made a deal with the devil or something. Us, me being a music fan and as being a music fan, us music fans get those blues references. Oh, you made a deal with the devil, for your talent. Well, I guess Nico Harrison made a deal with the devil to get a talent like Cooper Flag to come to the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, who knows? But only time will tell. Will Cooper Flag, be an all-time great? This will be his first professional played season in the NBA with the Mavericks, and we'll see what happens with him. And obviously, Kyrie Irving is going to be out for a little while, because of the injury that he sustained this past season. So he's going to be out for a little bit of while and all that stuff. And so, yeah, a couple of and what's also very interesting is all of the starting 5 from this past Duke Blue Devils squad was drafted in the NBA draft last week. So that's really cool. But congratulations, everybody, at the NBA, getting drafted last week. And we'll see what happens. And moving on to what I came to talk about here today, and that is the NBA offseason. And boy, oh boy, what a start right now to this offseason. And right out the gate, I want to talk about the signing of the 4-year, $285 max extension contract by last season's MVP and the most recent NBA Finals MVP. Yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has signed a 4-year deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder, a 4-year, $285 million extension to stay with the Thunder. That is one piece of the puzzle that led this Thunder to their championship run. And obviously, Jalen Williams is going to be wanting a max contract or an extension himself. So that right there is big-time money for a big-time player. And obviously, SGA also won the scoring title this past season as well. So he won the league MVP, scoring title, and the NBA Finals MVP. Congratulations to SGA for getting this max deal. Very, very, very exciting news for the Thunder fans down there. And also, speaking of the Thunder, their championship parade was last week in Oklahoma City. Congratulations to the Thunder fans. They have been waiting and wanting a NBA championship since they relocated from Seattle. And to the Seattle fans, I feel sorry for you. That happened to you back in 2008 when the team relocated to OKC. But it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But again, congratulations to the Thunder and their fans for winning their first championship last week. And also Tyrese Halliburton last week for the Pacers had surgery on his Achilles. And he's going to be out for a significant chunk of time. Obviously going to probably miss all of next year. And we will see what happens with Indiana this upcoming year, because I would imagine they're going to have to make some moves to fill some voids on that team, because there was a piece of their team that went to the finals and who was a Pacer for 10 years. That's right, Miles Turner, no longer a Pacer. He is moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks. He has signed a 4-year contract with Milwaukee. And in hindsight, Damian Lillard has been waived by Milwaukee. Now look, I feel bad for Lillard. He was not happy. He was not happy with Portland, you know, not having a lot of success with the Trailblazers. Didn't have a lot of success. I mean, he had success when it comes to being an all-star, but he never had that championship kind of caliber team to take him to the promised land. And joining Milwaukee, a lot of people thought in the mainstream media that Lillard was going to provide that spark and get Milwaukee back to the finals. Well, obviously that didn't happen. Well, for one, their head coach is a hack. And Doc Rivers these days, he's been known for choking in big series, whether it be with the Clippers or that second finals appearance with the Celtics back in 2010 against the Lakers in game 7, and obviously with the 76ers blowing series leads and all that type of stuff. And then obviously his tenure with Milwaukee has not been the greatest. And Damian Lillard made the move to go to Milwaukee a couple years ago. And this team was up and down. And they won big games and they lost a lot of big games because of Rivers, his coaching, and the defense was inconsistent. Giannis obviously was plagued by injuries at times, but Lillard was the main focus. And obviously when he was there, Chris Middleton, was plagued by injuries too. But Damian Lillard, more than anything, suffered a lot of significant injuries, including having to miss a lot of games this past year with blood clots. And that sucks for the man. He voiced his opinion about, wanting to go to a different location. He wanted to go initially to Miami, but then Milwaukee made the move, to get his services. And he wanted to go, to have a chance to win a champion, have a chance to win a championship. And it's rather interesting the circumstances that were dealt in Lillard's situation this offseason, because it didn't work out with Milwaukee. And now that Damian Lillard is now on the market, there are so many teams right now that could use a guy like Damian Lillard. Teams such as the Boston Celtics. Speaking of Achilles injuries, Jason Tatum is going to be out with a torn Achilles pretty much all year long this upcoming year. And the Boston Celtics need to have weaponry. They need to have guys besides Jaylen Brown, because now Kristaps Porzingis is out, Drew Holiday is out, and the Celtics are basically rebuilding. So if you are the Boston Celtics, Damian Lillard is out there. Damian Lillard is out there on the market. And the Celtics could use his services. The Golden State Warriors could use his services. I mean, you can't have enough, star power. And obviously, there's other teams out there that could use Damian Lillard. And another team that kind of jumps off the grid for me is the Nuggets, because obviously they have Nikola Jokic, the Joker. They have Jamal Murray. And they could use a quality player in Damian Lillard. The Nuggets could. Also, the Warriors could. The Celtics could. And it's really fascinating to see what happens with Damian Lillard this offseason, because there's just endless possibilities with the this offseason about where players are going to go. And honestly, if I'm Lillard, and obviously the Miami Heat are on the table too, but in my opinion, I honestly think Lillard's best. I think his best option, honestly, and I know I mentioned the Nuggets as a possibility, but I really think that maybe, just maybe, either it has to be between Denver or it has to be between Golden State. And it's going to be fascinating to see what happens as this offseason progresses. Now, speaking of the offseason and speaking of the Nuggets, Bruce Brown, one of the key contributors that won the NBA championship with the Nuggets back in 2023, is returning to the team. Yep, returning to the team is Bruce Brown. So that's good for Denver. I think, they could use that. And he was one of their key pieces, winning a championship. And I think that's also good for Denver. And also what's good for Denver is the trade of Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, to me, and like Kevin said in our chat, that he thinks that Johnson is a way better upgrade than Michael Porter Jr. And I humbly and 100% agree. I full-heartedly agree that I think Cam Johnson is a way better pick to have on your team as a consistent jump shooter and overall defender than Michael Porter Jr. Now, when Porter Jr. was with the Nuggets in 23 when they won the championship, he was still pretty good. But obviously after that year in 24 and then this past year in 25, or during the 23-24 year and then the 24-25 years, Porter Jr.'s numbers seriously dropped off and significantly dropped off. His field goal percentage went down. His defensive numbers really weren't that strong and good. And Denver needed to make a move. And I think they made the best move that they can make in getting a very high quality player in Cam Johnson who could fill that void of another defender, being on the team and all of that good stuff. So we'll see what happens with the Nuggets in this offseason. And speaking of the Nuggets, again, obviously the news was broke on our show a couple weeks ago that Russell Westbrook is not going to be returning to the team next season, and he will be a free agent as of today. And one of the teams that is in the running for Russell Westbrook services is the New York Knicks. And it's going to be fascinating to see if Russell Westbrook can come to terms with the New York Knicks on a contract. So, yeah. Denver making moves, New York making moves. Obviously, Miles Turner making moves, going from Indiana to Milwaukee. And like I just mentioned, it's also begs the question, speaking of Damian Lillard again, could Houston make a run at him? I don't know. I'm just spitballing out here. Because, like Ezra said here in the chat, if KD and Lillard hook up as a duo, they're gonna that right there is a top 2 scoring pair. A top 2 duo. Of scoring the ball, 1A, 1B. And both of those guys command the ball. But if I'm Lillard, like I said, I think the best fit for him is either Denver or with Golden State, because Golden State does have a pretty good team in place, and so does Denver. And both of those teams could use a guy like Lillard, because obviously Jimmy gets buckets. Butler is with the Warriors still, obviously, for a couple of years. And obviously the veteran himself, Steph Curry, is still there. And if you're Lillard, you have to weigh your options on what's the best spot for me to play. And it's just going to be interesting to see what Lillard decides to do. Now, as far as the offseason also is concerned, I think that when it comes to this offseason, when it comes to teams like Indiana, they're going to have to make some moves because they're going to have to find somebody that can, protect the paint. And I honestly think that DeAndre Ayton could be a good player for the Pacers because they need to find somebody who can fill the void of being a defender in the paint for Indiana now that Turner is gone. And he was there for 10 years, like I mentioned. And there's a lot of reports going around too when it comes to Miles Turner saying that Giannis was the reason that Turner went to Milwaukee. Who knows? It's very, very interesting to see what happens. Also, James Harden is staying with the Clippers. So yeah, there's a lot of players making moves. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Off season, it's hard to believe the off season is already here. And obviously, like we mentioned last week on the show, the NFL previews for us starts on August the 5th. Cannot wait for that. And so also speaking real quick, going back to the Nuggets again, JJ Barea is now a coaching assistant for the Nuggets. Very cool. Very cool. See here, looking here, down here. Also, real quick, here in the also news broke a couple days ago that Texas State just joined the Pac-12 as well in the world of college athletics. And before we get to the championship teams, I do want to talk about this as well. As a quick side note, I do want to talk about the trade that went down in the NFL a couple of days ago between the Steelers and the Dolphins. By far, one of the more shocking moves I have ever witnessed. Minkah Fitzpatrick gets traded to the Dolphins. Why? One of your best defenders gets traded. Flat out traded. Outright traded to the Dolphins for Jonnu Smith. And yeah, he's a good tight end, and Jalen Ramsey? I mean, I'm sorry, but Jalen Ramsey is not the player that he once was. And Fitzpatrick, by far, is their best defender, in my opinion. I think it's a bad move for Pittsburgh. Yeah, they get two players that have been on the trading block, but come on. Like, I get it, they're desperate. But just because they're a team, just because the Steelers are desperate, to win a championship. I mean, good grief. I mean, I don't know, man. I just think they're just absolutely crazy trading Fitzpatrick for that. Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey. Sorry. Wouldn't have done it. Wouldn't have done it. But I do want to. I know I'm all over the place here, guys. There's a lot to talk about. I do want to jump back to the Damian Lillard discussion again. And looking at the options that are out there again, I mean, Miami, yeah, that was an option, a year ago. But I don't think he needs to go there because they don't have enough players that can benefit what Lillard wants. He wants a championship. When you look at these players that have called their shots and that have made their moves to go win championships, we have seen players make their moves and teams make their moves respectively to get the players that they want to win a championship. I mean, when Durant went to Golden State, yeah, we weren't happy about the move, but Durant sold his soul to the devil himself, made a deal with the devil to win a championship. If you can't beat him, join him. And he joined Golden State and won a title. And if you're Damian Lillard, you have to think about this. Do I want to go down? Now, I know, and myself and Ez and Joey and Kevin and everybody out there that is a sports fan that doesn't judge players by rings, we know that some of the greatest players in sports have not won championships. Not every great player has won a title. But if you're Damian Lillard, and if you're comparing yourself to some of your peers that have won championships, do you want to go down as one of the greatest point guards of all time of your era that did not win it all? In his eyes, in his mind, no. Lillard wants to be a champion. And if you are Damian Lillard, I would honestly use my decision on where I want to play as motivation because Milwaukee got rid of me. All of the bad luck circumstances with Lillard, with the injuries and missing games and the blood clots, in the middle of the year last year. If I'm Damian Lillard, I am using the team that I signed with as motivation to motivate me to want to win it even more. Because there are tons of teams out there that could use his services. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Boston Celtics. Yeah, Boston's in a complete rebuilding stage. Obviously, they won a championship 2 years ago, but they won it with Holiday, Tatum, Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford, and the rest of that cast. But that cast is no more because Holiday is on the move to Portland, and Kristaps Porzingis is on the move to Atlanta. And if you are Damian Lillard, you have to think about this long and hard. You have all offseason long to make a move on where you want to play. You're a free agent. You can do whatever the hell you want. Nobody's pressuring you, because when you're doing a trade, you're hoping and praying that the team, that you're hoping to go for is going to make the right offer to trade you. But at least in this situation, Lillard is free to sign with any team of his choosing. And obviously, what if he goes to, I'll throw this what if scenario out there too. What if Lillard goes to Minnesota? Minnesota's a pretty good move, but they are still a long way away from winning a championship. They still have some pieces like Anthony Edwards. They still have Naz Reid, and they still have Rudy Gobert, manning the paint, and defending the paint. And Lillard, I think Lillard is going to make the right move. I will be shocked if he doesn't make the right move in his mind and go with a team that could use a championship caliber team. Because it is honestly amazing, guys, when you think about this in retrospect. The parity in the NBA, and I know I've said it time and time again, we've said it time and time again here on this show, but it's a fact. The parity in the NBA, it is amazing right now. Because anybody, except for maybe a couple of franchises like the Jazz and the Hornets, sorry, Charlotte and Utah fans, but the facts are the facts. All these other teams pretty much are in the hunt to win it all. And when you look at the teams that have made the playoffs in the last couple of years, teams that have made their run to the NBA Finals or have made a deep push into playoffs, like the Knicks, like the Celtics, like the Nuggets, like the Timberwolves, like the Pacers and the Thunder. I mean, you name it. The Warriors in 22, and the Bucks, and I can go on and on and on. I mean, anybody now has a shot to win. And if I am Damian Lillard, I am thinking about where I want to go because wherever he goes, that could determine possibly who wins the championship. So we're gonna keep an eye on this throughout the off season, and we're gonna talk about this for quite some time until we see that there is a move for Lillard and a decision from Lillard on where he wants to play in the upcoming season. And also news in the NBA about 3 days ago, it was announced that the Chicago Bulls are trading Alonzo Ball, or they're trading Ball to the Cavaliers for Coro. And I really don't think nobody won this trade. I think that really nobody won this trade, but Chicago's making moves. And speaking of the Cavs, it's going to be interesting to see next season, do the Cavaliers repeat their success? Because they were the top team in the Eastern Conference last year, and they made it to the semifinals against the Pacers. And so, yeah, it's going to be should be very fascinating. I mean, and Alonzo Ball's been on the move, a couple of times, and he's a decent player, but man, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. We'll see what happens as the offseason progresses with that, and especially with the regular year, how Ball will do in his new home. Lonzo Ball going to the Cavaliers from Chicago. Anyways, moving on here, and I do want to talk about and we talked about this last week with the Pacers news of the unfortunate news that Halliburton going down with the Achilles injury in Game 7 against the Thunder this last Sunday. And I know it's been talked about, like, with these Achilles injuries on how they happen and what's happening, and why is it happening. I just think that it's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the game. Sometimes when you make these cuts and these moves, you can't predict what your body is going to do. I mean, Jason Tatum, he's going to be out pretty much all year long. Halliburton's going to be out. And KD, obviously 6 years ago, suffered that same injury with the Achilles injury. He was out for pretty much all year long. And it's unfortunate that things like this happen. And if you're Indiana, you're going to be thinking about this offseason all year long. And that third quarter, late stages of that third quarter into the fourth quarter against the Thunder in Game 4 of the finals is going to haunt you for quite some time. Those 14 minutes and change are going to haunt the Pacers for quite some time. And now Indiana's going to have to make a move on who could join their team. I mean, hell, and this just popped out of off the top of my head just now. What if Lillard goes to Indiana? Damian Lillard could go to a team that has a head coach in Rick Carlisle who has a championship pedigree, who won a championship with the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, and who took this Pacers team to a 7-game series against the Thunder. One victory away from a championship. If I'm Damian Lillard, that's another team that you could throw out as a possibility. Could he go to Indiana? Who knows? I mean, as Kevin Garnett once said, after the Celtics won the title in 08, anything's possible. And anything is possible when it comes to the world of sports. And we will be keeping an eye on the offseason as it progresses. Again, you can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show. You can also follow us on Facebook at Our Nation Sports Show, where I'm live right now at youtube.com/Nation Sports Show. You can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook, Instagram, and where they are live on most Saturday nights, where it is all right for fighting at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. Now, we talked about last week that Kevin Durant was going to the Houston Rockets. And I think that for KD, that is a win-win situation because Houston didn't have to give up a whole hell of a lot to keep the rest of their team. They got a young team. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Unlike LeBron, he shows up and does not leave early minutes, especially with 3 minutes to go in the game late. Did I just say 3 minutes? K-Rod, Kevin Orr, what's going on, pal?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? And I just gotta say, what do they say? 4 letters, 1 word. Stop. No, seriously, guys, it was good being back on the show, and glad to talk some sports.
Yeah, man, glad to have you back here on the show, man. And obviously, we're talking about the offseason in the NBA. Now, I know there's a lot that's gone down. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander signing that 4-year maximum contract with the Thunder, 4 years, $285 million. Really, really cool stuff for SGA. Now, the big thing that I keep going back and forth with, Kev, is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard obviously was waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. He is now a free agent. And the big question is, and you threw out some names, and Ezra threw out some names, Joey threw out some names, but there's a lot of possibilities on where is Damian Lillard going to end up. After I threw out the Warriors, I threw out maybe the Celtics, maybe somehow the maybe the Rockets, maybe, if he can get like a legend, like a veteran, minimum deal, maybe the Timberwolves, like there's endless possibilities. And also, just to pop that out of my head, maybe he can go to Indiana, on a veteran minimum deal. I mean, now that Turner is gone, and where do you think Lillard could go in the offseason?
Honestly, anywhere is a possibility. Anybody that has a semi chance of winning a title, they got a chance because of that. Being waived means Milwaukee has to pay every single dime that is guaranteed, and that's $113 or $133 million left. So, for the next 5 years, they're going to be paying them like $40 million, so or $30 million. So, Dame doesn't have to take less money because he can sign. It was kind of like the Russell Wilson deal with Denver when he went to the Steelers on like $1 million because Denver was paying the other $35 million. Same way here with Dame. He can go to even Boston. As much as they're in cap hell, they can even afford something like that because they can pay him $1 million, while the damn Bucks are gonna pay him another $34 million. So he's gonna pay. He's gonna be paid by other teams to play somewhere else. And I do not understand that from Milwaukee. I don't. And Giannis does not either. Giannis has been reportedly unpleased with the front office for just waving Dame. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what in the hell is Milwaukee's doing, because their starting five next year looks very ugh. It looks like Kyle Kuzma, Gary Trent, Giannis, and Miles Turner. I'm like, oh god, yeah, they.
Yeah, not good.
Sad part about it, and I don't want to jump the gun, but the East to me is wide open. I mean,
Wide open.
I know the West is wide open, but the West it's the wild wild West. Like there's so many good teams, but the East to me is just, as far as assuming, it's pretty bad. Like the whole entire East, because Tatum's going to miss most likely the whole year. I mean, Halliburton's going to miss likely the whole year. I mean, Dame won't come back till late. I mean, Giannis, you never know. I mean, to be honest, there's one team that I've seen make some moves that, will they be contenders? I don't think so. But do they got a chance in the East? Yes, and that's between the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic. That's the crazy thing I couldn't believe saying, because they've actually went out and started addressing some of their worst problems very effectively. I think. I mean, Atlanta getting Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, you pair a big with Trey Young, a skilled big at that. I mean, that was pretty nice. And Orlando getting Bane. I don't agree with giving up that many damn first round picks, but
No.
still, Orlando gets someone they need. They get a shooter, somebody who can shoot and help Paulo Banchero out. And Cleveland, there's no excuse after the season you had this year, and you trade for Lonzo Ball. So now you got 2 point guards on this team. There's no excuse why you can't come out of the East. Last year, I mean, you're a regular season team. We're gonna see, because there is no excuse next year. And with the East being that weak and wide open, there's no excuse.
Interesting. And yeah, and I thought about that too, because trading, for Lonzo Ball, I mean, there is no excuse for Cleveland, because the East, like you just said, and like I just said on this show, and we've been saying, it is wide open. Halliburton's going to be out all year long. Tatum's going to be out all year long. There's a lot of wide open lanes for Cleveland, to get down, deeper into the playoffs. There's no excuses. They pretty much had the same team, as they did last year. They were the top seed in the Eastern Conference last year, and there's no excuses why they can't make a deep playoff run if you are the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, a team that has made some moves, and Kevin, I completely agree with you on this, analysis, that the Denver Nuggets so far have made some of the best moves in this offseason. That Cam Johnson going to the Nuggets for a struggling, inconsistent Michael Porter Jr. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was so up and down the last 2 years alone. That's why he got traded the hell out of Denver,
Yeah.
Colorado.
And I love the thinking. Denver did not overthink this. They didn't say, let's break up the whole team. Denver basically sat back, let cool heads prevail, and basically said, you know what? We won a championship like that with the same roster. I mean, we won the championship playing this style. We need shooters. We need 3 point shooters out there when Jokic and Murray's doing their thing. Michael Porter was supposed to do that, but he's inconsistent. Who can we get out there that does the same job, plays the same role, but more consistent? How about Cam Johnson? Way better. I mean, way younger too, less expensive. Probably play. I mean, don't play great defense, but he plays better defense than Michael Porter. So I mean, it's a win for Denver. And then you get, I know Bruce Brown is not valuable to 29 other NBA teams, but Bruce Brown on the Nuggets looks like he's damn Bruce Bowen on the damn Spurs. Like I never seen anything like it. Like he goes to Indiana and commits the biggest robbery in the NBA, getting all that money and absolutely sucking. And then, but before he was in Denver and he looked like he was damn J.R. Smith back in the day. Like he looked like sixth man of the year. I'm like, what is this? So Denver finally gets him back in the fold, and that might be big for them as well. Also, I think they traded for Valanciunas, I think also. So now they got a backup
Oh,
center.
wow.
They traded him from the Kings. They got a backup center now for Dario Saric.
And Valanciunas, he can also stretch to 4 too.
Yep. So now you got Jokic to get some more breaks. He ain't got to play 46 minutes a game. he can kind of chill in the regular season, play 35 at 30 minutes. So I mean that's a good fit. Another team I want to talk about that I think is ace the off season, and the biggest key is the hospital. But that's the Dallas Mavericks. I believe them in Houston, like them Texas teams, whoo weesh, they have aced this offseason. Dallas goes out and drafts a superstar, generational player, Cooper Flag. I know you got Clay. That ain't really saying much no more. Got Kyrie coming off the ACL. We know this. But if AD can stay healthy, you still got Daniel Gafford. You got a center. You got bigs. You go out and sign D'Angelo Russell, who everybody, I know he's the Lakers scapegoat like Russell Westbrook was, but D'Angelo Russell can score, and that he is going to be very good for that bench, and possibly for the first part of the year while Kyrie Irving is rehabilitating his knee, being able to step in and play with Anthony Davis and Cooper Flag and company. So I think D'Lo was a big pickup. D'Angelo Russell is going to be big for them, and Dallas is like PJ coming off the bench, obviously because Cooper Flag's going to start. That's a good bench. I mean, that's just a good roster if they can stay healthy. I mean, you give me a healthy AD 9 times out of 10, I'm going to take him against just about anybody, especially in the paint. So I'm really interested to see what Dallas does if they can stay healthy.
Yeah, good points. And talking about, Bruce Brown, returning to the Nuggets, I think, like you said, I think that right there could really help their defensive schemes, especially because he was one of the critical pieces of their championship team from 3 years ago.
Yep.
And also, I do want to bring this up that the when it comes to the offseason, that James Harden is staying put with the Clippers, and an ex teammate of his, obviously in OKC. Russell Westbrook is not going to, obviously, as we reported, is not returning to Denver. And one of the teams that is meeting up with him is the New York Knicks. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Do you think, is the Knicks going to go after him?
I can see it. I mean, you need someone to relieve the pressure of Jalen Brunson. I mean, you need somebody off the bench, and I believe he's that energizer bunny that they could get. So yeah, I could definitely see it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, switching gears a little bit to the NFL, and you again are spot on with this. This trade between the Steelers and the Dolphins is completely stupid. Because why? Of all players, Mika Fitzpatrick, one of your best defenders, you're trading him to the Dolphins for who? A washed up Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, a tight end.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I just think the Steelers got finessed on there. Miami, I think, won that. People think I'm crazy, but Miami literally just what they're in cap hill, so them dumping them salaries are like, oh, thank God. Then you get Minka Fitzpatrick, who one of their best players. He's one of the best safeties in the league. I mean, and I'm sick of people bringing up the injury prone tag because guess what? So was Jalen Ramsey. So what? So you got to take the injuries out now because hell, both of them were injured. I mean, both of them been injured. They're both injury prone, so you can't use that as an excuse for one player when both of them are. But all I'm saying is, why would you? Jalen Ramsey is old. He's been washed. He's been burnt toast ever since his last year with the Rams 2 or 3 years ago. Ever since then, it's been a shit show to watch. And you're going to trade a guy who's in his prime, playing all pro football like Minka Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey? I don't understand. At first, I thought Pittsburgh won because until it broke that Minka Fitzpatrick was involved. I said, "What?" I mean,
I
I
said
got
the same thing. I was like, what is going on? Like,
because they announced the trade. They didn't say Minka. They just said, "Oh, he was traded for the Rams, and Johnny Smith was too." Said for what? Oh, just a couple late round picks. Oh, that's it. Oh yeah, Pittsburgh won that then. I mean, at least they took a chance on. I mean, he's washed, but at worst case, you don't lose much. It's a low risk. And then they said, "Oh no, Minka Fitzpatrick's being traded." I said, "What?" Yeah, y'all are fucking idiots. and now they're talking about they don't want to re-sign TJ to a long-term deal, and now there's trade speculation around TJ Watt.
What? Like, come on, Pittsburgh. Get it together.
They're
Like,
trying to give Mike Tomlin gray hair and make him have his first losing season. I'm honestly convinced because Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey are going to make as much difference as me going out there trying to play quarterback for the Steelers. It's going to be the same damn result, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Pittsburgh's stupid for that trade. I think that's one of the worst trades in the offseason.
oh, I think it is one of the worst trades in the offseason by far. Ugh. Ugh. Just not good. Not good if you're Pittsburgh. They're desperate. Aaron Rodgers is desperate. I hope to God they had their first losing season with Tomlin. And Tomlin leaves after this year because, oh, the one losing year you have is because of Karen Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers. Sorry. Anyways, now as far as the offseason is concerned, now I brought it up a little bit ago when you came on that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just signed that big 4-year deal. Now we know Jalen Williams is out for a contract too. Now, for the Thunder, signing Gilgeous-Alexander to this 4-year maximum, money contract. And as far as Jalen Williams is concerned, if they sign him to a 100 plus year contract, how do you think that OKC can distribute their money around the rest of the team? Because when you're signing two plus superstar players to over $300+ million, you don't have a lot of money, to maneuver, to make other big contracts. You know what I mean? Because signing two players to these big contracts, I mean, it's great because your star players are getting paid. There's signing max deals, but
Yep.
you have to distribute the money around, to have role players and all that type of stuff. I mean, luckily for the Thunder, they're a young team. But what do you think? Like, if they're in a situation like where they have to pay other players, who do you think, besides obviously the core two of Williams and Alexander, who Williams will get his money? Who do you think if they have to pay? I think you need to pay Caruso, because Caruso to me is the X factor on their defense. Like, he's one of their X factor defenders, and he's also a really solid 3-point shooter.
Yep. I think Chet should be the next one.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely should keep him. I don't know about Caruso, maybe, but we got to see what they all sign for, because that's going to be the most important. Yeah, that's going to be the most important one right there, is trying to get J Dub locked up, Shea locked up, and Chet locked up, and then see where your money is at. But yeah, Jalen Williams is very important to that team, and I believe he will get inked up, as well as Shea's just got his, and I believe they're going to try to wiggle something around to try to make the next 2 years work, because if they don't, they'll end up like Boston, and they'll start losing talent left and right. And I mean, that's the way the NBA is now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, obviously, the offseason is getting hot and heavy, and we're going to be reporting on this all offseason long, on where these potential players, could land, on these respective rosters, because obviously Westbrook is out there, Damian Lillard is out there. Now, I threw this out there too, Kev. I think that Lillard could also go to the Golden State Warriors. What do you think?
I could see it. I mean, a shooter, he definitely would help, because there's the Warriors lack only two things really, and that's a deep backcourt and a big man. And if they could somehow get that, I believe a big man or a backcourt would really go far with the Warriors, especially getting Steph some shooting help, because God forbid, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green are the worst shooting superstars I've ever seen. So, I mean, being able to get Steph some relief as far as shooting the ball, I mean, yeah, you got pods, but when I think of shooters, I mean Damian Lillard's a top 5 shooter in NBA history. So you're adding him, and that would be important. That would be important to that team and the way they play offense too, especially when Dame can come off the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be tough to defend.
Oh yeah, especially now that you got, Jimmy gets buckets, Butler and Steph Curry, and obviously Draymond is still there, protecting the paint, and being the high energetic defender that he is. If Lillard, goes to Golden State, I think that'd be a really good move for him.
Yeah.
And I have thrown out the possible scenario that what if he goes to Denver? Because
Ooh.
man, oh man, like
I don't think they would entertain that because the president of Denver actually did go out and say that they're already pressed on money just a bit, and he was like, "Hell, Nikola Jokic, he get traded one of them days." I don't know if he was really joking, but he was like, "Money's tough. We're either going to need to just lose Jokic or we're going to lose everybody around him." Because
well, that's true. And the one thing that Denver has in their feather cap is they won a championship. And but yeah, money these days it is tight. And these owners, have to think about how they're going to distribute the money evenly around their teams and how they're going to balance the money with these rosters. I mean, because not everybody can be paid. Only way you can keep your team around is if you take massive, crazy pay cuts. But
yep,
nobody wants to take pay cuts. People want to get paid.
nope. There's
Now,
some people that want to take pay cuts to value winning, but at the end of the day, there's some people who look at it like, hey, I still got to feed my family. I'm trying to earn my money because life in the NBA, life in the NFL is short. I need to get all the bread I can while I can get it. I mean,
absolutely.
I would never hate on somebody for not wanting less money. I mean, I can't hate on them. It's still a job. It's still your profession. That's your job. That's your 9 to 5. That's what you do every day. I mean, you're trying to feed your family. I mean, to someone like us is that many million difference. Like, oh, I want 30 million. I don't want 24 million. Like, bro, you're still getting 24. To us, we think, oh, that's still a lot of money. But to them, they're looking at a like in a bigger class. Like, no, 6 million is a lot, bro. I want my 31. I don't want 24. Especially if you live in somewhere like California with state taxes, or I mean that makes a difference getting paid. So yeah, all them players to get their money, I could never hate on them. Like I can't hate for people taking a pay cut, but I can't hate on a player for who's got it out the mud and gets that contract.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like if Jalen Williams says, "Hey, I want to win, so I'm gonna take a little bit of money," I can't hate on that. But if Jalen Williams says, "Nah, get rid of everybody because I want my bread," I was almost the Finals MVP. I was dominating in the finals. You should give me mine. I can't hate on that either because I mean he earned it.
Oh, this just in. I guess don't guess this was earlier today, but according to my Google here, 27 minutes ago, it was reported that the Detroit Pistons have landed Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, I seen that because the shenanigans of Malik Beasley getting investigated for gambling, sports betting. So
Did it say what Beasley was gambling on?
yeah, prop bets. I mean, people were
Oh,
posting videos all
jeez.
over X about watch this. The spread was 8 points. Detroit was losing to Milwaukee by 9 points. Watch this. 4 seconds left. No point in doing anything. Nope. Malik Beasley grabs the rebound anyway and rushes down court to get a cheap layup to cut the lead within 7 and get the under on the spread. I'm like, you know what?
Man, come on, man.
I said he's been hiding in plain sight because that shit's crazy. Who gets to let you're down 9? Who's even gonna do that? They're gonna get the rebound and just run the clock out like, oh fuck it, I don't care. Time to go home. Let's go rest. Let's go rest up and go on to
Not
the next.
Beasley.
Nope, not him. He said, I gotta get my bucket. I gotta cut the spread. The spread is 8 points. They gambling.
Oh, dear God. Even on his own team. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's intentionally, trying to lose. All he cares about is getting that money.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, he's gonna be I think he's gonna be suspended for the whole year.
Probably gonna get banned from the league. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely banned from the league. Yeah, he's done. He's cooked.
Yeah.
Uh moving on, and this is the main topic of the day. Oh, excuse me, real quick. Before we get to the championship top 5 teams, I do want to bring this up when it comes to the NBA draft from last week. Very cool that all of the starting 5 of the Duke Blue Devils was drafted.
Yep, that's tough. That's tough to do.
Very tough to do. Now we know
Oh,
that Cooper.
one more thing though, I'd like to
Go ahead.
mention too about LeBron James opting into his player option tells me two things.
Mm-hmm.
I find Brian Windhorst's report very interesting. He said LeBron has never opted into a player option. He has always opted out and re-signed a bigger deal or a longer deal for cap relief, this and that. Is LeBron on the verge of retiring? Like, is that the reason he opted in? Because he's like, it's the last year, not re-signing nothing else. I don't know. That's a good. I mean, he's like LeBron has never opted in. He 8 times he's had a player option. All 8 times he has opted out. 3 times he's left and switched teams, including Miami, Cleveland, and the Lakers. And the other 5 times he has opted out and re-signed for 2 or 3 year extensions. This time he just said, "I'm opting in. I'm getting $53 million right now." I mean, and then there was a viral video of them eating dinner or something, and Savannah, LeBron's wife or LeBron was talking to somebody. Was like, "Yeah, Savannah wants me to retire in the next year or two, so got to do what the wife wants." So this could be LeBron's last year in the NBA. I'll be the first to say it.
Yeah, and if it is his last year, you know the entire NBA is going to do the complete lap around with every city. Oh, pay your respects to LeBron, da 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 da, and all that stuff, like they did with Dirk.
Yep, it's gonna be like the old Kobe game where the Lakers are gonna be 14-80, 14-60, and they get the final game on TV.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now moving on to the topic at hand today, and yes, this is another top 5 theme. And I thought about it when the season ended last week and the Thunder won their championship. How fitting we rank our top 5 favorite teams that have won the championship. And I have Joey and Ezra's picks here in our chat, and I will read those, and me and you will give our list right here on the air. And I'll start off with Ezra. Ezra has at number 5, the 2008 Boston Celtics. At number 4, he has the 86-87 Lakers. Number 3, he has the 2017 Golden State Warriors. Number 2, he has the 01 Lakers. And number 1, the 95-96 Chicago Bulls. And Joey, let's see, Joey, he has at 5, the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Number 4, the 2017 Warriors. Number 3, the Detroit Pistons team from 2004 with that crazy defense and that starting 5 that was really good. Number 2, the 01 Lakers. And the number 1 pick for Joey, just like with Ezra, the 95-96 Chicago Bulls. Now, you and I, we've been friends for a very long time. We have seen quite a bit of great teams in our lifetimes that have won championships. We've seen San Antonio win multiple championships. We've seen the Lakers. We've seen the Celtics. We've seen, the Warriors. We've seen that Mavericks team, those Warriors teams, the teams that LeBron's been on. We've seen those guys and those teams win championships. Some are dynasties. Some had some incredible runs, winning championships, and some had incredible seasons winning championships. But for you, who is your top 5 favorite teams that you have, in your opinion, that have won a championship?
Well, I'm not going to say favorites. I'm going to say the best that I've seen. And here's my criteria. I'm not going to, as much as I want to say I'm going to look at the season in totality. Because as much as I want to say the Mavericks, they had an incredible playoff run. Like Dirk, that was the most insane run ever. Yes, that probably is one of the best runs of all time. But as far as a great team, they snuck into the playoffs I mean, they had an up and down regular season, so I would not put them on my list, but they could be an honorable mention, I guess, because their run was insane. Number five, you know what? I got not just the season. I'm looking at the dynasty also. Give me the '06 Spurs, the '07 Spurs. That team that swept LeBron James in the finals. I'm going San Antonio just because they've done this. I mean, you could pick that team. You could pick the Spurs team in 14. I don't care either one of them.
But
Yes,
talk. And I was thinking about this too, Kev, real quick, just to analyze this. The Spurs team from '06, '07. Look at that team. You had Tony Parker. You had Manu Ginobili. You had Tim Duncan, obviously the core three. But then you had Michael Finley. A great sharpshooter, 3-point shooter.
I'm
You had
just going to
Bruce.
say the Spurs from three different decades because you could argue the '99 Spurs like that. David
Sure.
Robinson. I mean, you could argue like what I said, those '06, '07. You could argue the Kawhi up and coming Spurs with Tim Duncan and them aging veterans. I mean, either one of them. Just pick your poise because they all had amazing seasons, and any Greg Popovich team should make that list. And here's the disclaimer. I'm not going to pick anybody from earlier in my day. So, Showtime Lakers, I know they're great. I'm not going to pick them because I didn't watch them. This is just from what I watched, even as a young lad to now. Like, I didn't see the Showtime Lakers. I've just seen highlights, and I know they were great. Don't get me wrong. I know the Bad Boy Pistons were great. There's so many championship teams that were goated. I mean, I know Larry's
Right.
Celtics was great. I can't put them because I didn't personally see them. So number four, this is interesting. Yucks. Number four is gonna be close, but man, oh man, damn. That honestly, I want to flip it. Number four, I'm gonna put the Spurs. Number five, I'm gonna go. I want to change it up. Honestly, damn. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to just because, much as I hated them, I'm going the 2012 Miami Heat. I don't want to do it, but I've just seen
Interesting.
the way LeBron flipped into a villain and accepted that role after they lost in 2011. I mean, it was something to behold. I mean, how he dominated in Boston in Game 6 and took them and went Game 7 and took that, and then just absolutely mollywopped Kevin Durant's Thunder. I mean, and in the whole season they were dominant. I gotta put him at five. I don't want to because I don't like LeBron, but I can't deny that was a great season. So give me Miami, 2012 Miami at number five. Give me the '06, '07 Spurs, whichever Spurs you want to pick at number two or number four.
Real quick. I'm surprised you did not pick the 2012, 2013. You picked the 11-12 Heat team. That 2012-13 Heat team that had that incredible, what was it, 27 consecutive games
I
that they
mean,
won?
either way, I'm just looking at the playoffs, and when I look
Right.
at, there was a Ray Allen lucky shot of getting their ass sent home by the Spurs in that season. So that's why I'm looking at the team that absolutely dominated the Oklahoma City Thunder and Game 6 of
Right.
Boston.
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, you can argue that I wouldn't stop you. I mean, I'm all for it because Ray
But
Allen made that
nah,
team
you
even
have a
more
point
goaded.
because LeBron's game 6, and we watched that game. We were convinced that Boston's is going to beat Miami and face the Thunder in the finals. We thought that's what was going to happen, but was we wrong? And
No,
we
that was
sat there and we were shocked because
that,
LeBron went out there and dominated the entire game.
yeah, that was one of his best game sixes he's ever played in his whole career. So I would go with that. But if you want to stay with 2013, sure, because on paper, yeah, I mean Ray Allen made that shit was over. That shit was damn overpowered when you had Ray Allen added there. Shane Battier, James Jones, they had shooters everywhere. And you had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. I mean, hey, it was goaded either way. So I can argue either one, but I'm going
Right.
to say 2012 at number five. I'm going to go '06 Spurs, number four. Number three, I'm going with the 2001 Lakers. And this is a toss up. You can flip them two either way you want it because they both have identical postseason records. They were very identical. They were eventual dynasties. They had two of the greatest duos of all time, and you'll see my number two. But number three, I'm going Lakers. Number two, I'm going the 17 Warriors. And the reason why, again, you can flip that. Katie and Steph, one of the greatest duos ever, just like Shaq and Kobe. They both, I believe that Lakers team went 15-1 in the playoffs in '01, while the Warriors team went 16-1 in that playoff run. So the only reason I will give the nod and the slight edge at the finish line to the Warriors, without the bias, obviously because I like Steph, but is because of the opponents. I mean, I know the Lakers face some opponents, but how many were the caliber of a LeBron James and Kyrie Irving? That I mean, and Golden State mollywopped them in the finals. I mean, how many teams did the Lakers really play? Which they played some good teams. Don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is there wasn't nobody with a LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, and Golden State took that shit and they threw Kyrie and the LeBron right on their face, as well as look at how deep that team was. They had a former All NBA player, David West, coming off the bench in that season. I mean, Sean Livingston might be the grit. I seen a stat that said, not even a stat, it was a meme that said, best mid-range jump shots ever. Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, number one is 2017 Sean Livingston because he never missed a damn mid-range.
Not
And
just
he was
that, but look at that team. I mean, Drew, Andre Iguodala, and obviously Klay Thompson was still in prime Klay.
Yeah, it was they were stacked, and you like I said, I wouldn't be mad at someone who put the Lakers over them because they were great too. But I'm just looking at who they played and how they dominated. Like the Lakers dominated, but there wasn't no super team LeBron James of that era either. That's like saying if the Nets or if AI Sixers would have beat the Lakers, they might have been the greatest. They might have been one of the best championship teams ever because they would have beat Kobe and Shaq, but they didn't.
And
But
I think what made that Laker run so incredible is that they beat the San Antonio Spurs of that year, and the Spurs, had the best record in the NBA. MVP was Tim Duncan, and they claimed, "Oh, we would have won it all last year again if Duncan wasn't injured." Well, the Lakers said, "Okay, we're going to go into your building, we're going to beat your ass," and they did. And that was probably their biggest claim to fame on that run because they beat that team on the way to the NBA Finals. I mean, but yeah,
that's
you, you,
why I
you
say
can't.
it's kind of neck to neck. That's why I said either way, I'm cool with it. I'm gonna
But
personally.
no, but I totally understand your point on why you're picking the Warriors because of who they beat. To get there.
And I personally, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but and I know the Lakers dominated games, but the fashion that the Warriors would bring their third quarter onslaught was something to behold. I watched a game where they're going through the motions, bullshitting. They're down at halftime by 8 points. I look up 3/4 of the way through the third quarter, they're up by 27 points. Like
Mm.
what are y'all doing? What are y'all on? The way they would, that's why they call it the third quarter Warriors, because that third quarter comes, it's gonna rain, and it's gonna rain threes. I mean, KD out there draining them, Steph out there coming alive, and we've seen this time and time and time again. Golden State would be neck and neck with somebody bullshitting, and then pull away in the early, right after halftime, and they're up by 25 points, resting their starters in the fourth quarter.
Yep,
That's dominance. I mean, I don't care which way you flip it. That's pretty impressive.
it
And I mean,
is.
the next year against the Rockets when they missed 36 threes in a row or 26 threes in a row. Golden State again was down at halftime and came in the third quarter and they was up by damn 15 before you turn around. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
So
what
you
they
got Lakers at 3,
the Warriors at two.
Warriors at 2.
And I'm obviously going with the Bulls at 1. I mean, I could if LeBron didn't spoil that 73 wins Warriors team, that Warriors team would have had a case at 1 with the Bulls because of the 73 wins. But they didn't win it because of LeBron and suspending Draymond and the heroics from the referees. Yeah, we all know that. But I'm going to go to obviously 96 Bulls. They went to 72 games. I mean, they dominated the regular season. They go into playoffs. They just steamrolled people. So, I mean,
Not just that, but that stupid home record. I mean, the home record numbers was insane. I think they lost what, one home game?
Yeah, that's just
That is unbelievable. I mean, Michael Jordan, I mean, that was his first full year back after retiring after they won 3 consecutive championships for 91 and 93. And just how MJ just dominated. He was motivated as all get out. And he found any way to motivate himself to get prepared, to go out there, and he played lockdown defense, and he locked down some of the greatest players, of
and
his generation.
you can make the argument that, and unlike LeBron, this is where I will say, in LeBron's era, everybody ate. Matter of fact, Steph got 4 championships in LeBron's era. Hell, Tim Duncan even got a championship in LeBron's era. Hell, Jokic, everybody's got championships on LeBron's era. Jordan's era, you can make the case that the only reason the Houston Rockets won those championships is because of Jordan retiring from them 2 years and having that little midlife crisis where he wants to go play baseball and golf and act like think he's playing like he's Tiger Woods or some shit. But they literally, Jordan could make the case that if he never would have retired, they could have won 8 rings. They could have won. They could have won
Unreal.
4. They would have. They could have 4-peated, 5-peated, 6. I mean, you never know. Obviously, it's a if game, but that's that. I mean, you can make that argument because nobody did nothing when Jordan was there. Nobody. Jordan was so he hogged the game. You couldn't win in Jordan's era. It was impossible. I will say the only thing that's why I would say I would add the bad boy Pistons in this if I watched him, because Jordan got bitched before he was dominant. Let's not play that. Let's not act like Michael Jordan's just dominated from the jump, because the bad boy Pistons made him into a man. Let's be honest. They used to bully the shit out of him in the late 80s. And it's because of Isaiah and Dumars, and they put the hammer on Jordan. I
And
mean,
not just that, but Michael had to become a man instead of a boy. It made a man out of him. To go out there, getting bitch slapped, and dominated, by the bad boy Pistons teams. It made a grown man out of him, because Jordan went from being this, young, you know, you know, player that thought that he could do it all. And then he met Detroit, and it made a grown ass man out of him. And Michael Jordan became the greatest because he had to go through the Pistons. And I think that Pistons team made him into the incredible specimen that he became, for a full decade, basically. And
that's
I
why I
mean,
said I would put the Pistons on that list, but I personally haven't watched them other than the highlights and the old stories and stuff, so I really can't. But they definitely, to an old head, yeah, they belong on that list because same with the Showtime Lakers, but that's just my list because that's people who I personally grown up watching. I mean, I was a little kid when I seen that Bulls team, but I still, when you were a kid playing basketball, you always heard the Bulls. You always heard of Michael Jordan. You always heard of Bulls basketball. So that's what I grew up watching, and then I got older and obviously seen that Lakers team and all that. So yeah, that's my list.
my list is pretty cut and dry, just like you said. I mean, I'm picking teams that were during, just like you, during my lifetime, because I'm not going to go and pick. And again, full disclaimer, like you just said, like those 85, the 86, Celtics and Lakers teams, and, those Pistons teams in the 80s. Yes, they're great, but I never experienced it. In the 90s through the 2000s and now, those are the teams that I experienced.
Yep.
And
That's exactly what I said. I'm not going to be a Mad Dog Russo today. I'm not going to talk about the 60s team and act like they would have beat Michael Jordan's 72 win team or the 17 Warriors like Mad Dog does every week. He turns around and says, "What about the 68 Sixers? They would have stomped the 96 Bulls." I'm like, "Oh, dear God."
it's a different era of basketball. It's not the same. Like,
Nothing near the same.
the 3-point line didn't even exist until the mid 80s.
Yep.
So there's that. So my list is pretty cut and dry. And, and I thought about that too, because, like, if I did have to put, God, it's so tough, because I'm going to have to just the, I had the Mavericks on my list, And then as soon as you brought up LeBron, and look, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but I can't deny. So at number 5, just like you, I have the 2013 Miami team that won that title against that Spurs team in that epic 7-game series. I mean, we cannot deny the 27-game winning streak that the Miami Heat had during that run, winning over 60 plus regular season games. LeBron winning another MVP trophy. LeBron had 30 some odd points in game 7, won the finals MVP, won his second consecutive title against that Spurs team. So yeah, number 5 for me.
You can also make the case that LeBron and D Wade during that era were just as prolific as someone like a Kobe or Shaq or Durant.
Absolutely.
Like they made prolific plays like that. The alley oops and the fancy. I mean, it was insane to watch. I mean, it was like it was just a prolific duo.
Yeah, and they were so good. Well, and they came together at the right time, for themselves because Wade obviously won a title, but LeBron had to win. And again, I will eat crow for this because LeBron had to win with Wade to win on his own. With other players, he had to join another team to win. Instead of making a decision thanks to other players, luring him to go to this team. Cleveland, he made a decision on his own. LA, he made the decision on his own. But Miami, he was lured, by Wade and by Bosh, to go and play. And he won. And I'm not going to deny that Miami team from 2013. That is my number 5. And I had the Mavericks at number 5 from 2011. They're my honorable mention at just barely missing it. Number 4, I have the 06-07 Spurs. Number 3, damn it, I just thought about it. Motherfucker, I'm gonna have to move somebody else off the list because this is tough. This is tough. This is so tough because I had it's now. The more you think about it, it's so difficult.
Yeah, a lot of good teams.
Oh man. Oh, you know what? I hate to do it. Again, I had that Spurs team, but I'm going to have to go with that Celtics team. It's so difficult. Give me the Celtics team from 2008 at number 4. I mean, the big 3 of KG, Pearson Allen coming together and winning the championship after having one of the worst seasons in NBA history. And honestly, the greatest season turnaround in NBA history from a losing record to a winning, championship record. 66 wins in the regular season. That Boston team was stacked, not just in the starting 5, but their bench. Their bench was so good. So good. James Posey, Eddie House, P.J. Brown, Leon Poe. I mean, they were loaded. I mean, they had an incredible roster. Obviously, the starting 5 with Rondo and Perkins and Garnett, Pearson, Allen. So good. So good. Number 3, I have the 2017 Warriors. You can't deny their greatness because the Golden State Warriors of 2015 through 2019 was a dynasty. But that 17 team was the pinnacle of the dynasty. 16-1. Durant, Thompson, Green, Curry. I can't deny it. You can't deny greatness. You may not like the team, but you're going to respect it. And I respect greatness. Number 2, I have the Lakers from 2001. Just alone. Shaq, Kobe, the dominance of their dynasty. Winning 3 consecutive titles. I mean, you could have picked either one of those teams that won it all, but I'm single-handedly picking the 01 Lakers. Number 1, like we've all mentioned, the 95-96 Bulls. How can you not pick that team? I mean, to me, they are the greatest team to ever win it all when it comes to a record, when it comes to a team because they were loaded. Now, again, there are so many teams that we have left off the board. Like one of us picked the Pistons from 04. And that Pistons team from 2004, that was a who's who. That was like the island of the misfit toys and that type of stuff. I mean, Chauncey Billups and Richard Rip Hamilton and Rasheed Wallace and Tayshaun Prince and Ben Wallace. That starting five was legendary in the modern era. Nobody picked that Pistons team to go far. And it's incredible to think that Pistons team defeated a Lakers team that had Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Karl Malone on the same team. And it's incredible to think that Detroit team pride themselves on playing not just team basketball, but playing great defense. They locked you down. They defended you. They outmuscled you. They outperformed you with the big boy stuff. And that's what that Detroit team did in 04. And obviously they went to 7 games with that Spurs team in 2005. So, yeah, it's really hard. Now, if we're doing like a top 10, it's kind of easy to rank some of this stuff. But when you're single-handedly picking, 5 teams, and then when you rattled off that 2012 Miami team, that right there scribbled out my entire list because I totally forgot about that Miami run in 2013 because they had such a great record and that winning streak was incredible. I mean, they were beating teams in every fashion you can think about. They were blowing out teams. They were winning close games. They were coming back and winning games when they were trailing. And it became kind of like this hot ticket. Like we know how hot wrestling is. Everybody wants to be there and see the WWE. Back when LeBron and Wade and Bosch were on this winning streak, when Miami came to your city, you wanted to see it. You can't deny it. You wanted to see greatness in front of you. No matter how much we may not like LeBron's antics and what he has done, but what we do is we respect. We respect these great athletes that take, the floor and that entertain us night after night. We're sports fans, and we love to see greatness. And you and I have witnessed a lot of great players do a lot of great things. And it's just, it's so good, to kind of piggyback, to now what we have with the future of the NBA. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just won the NBA championship with that Thunder team, who is young, who is already a max-made player, 4 years deal. You have Jokic still in the prime of his career. You have great players that are out there playing in the NBA and across all the sports out there. We are still, watching greatness even in today's standards, because I know the old heads, they think that there's not a lot of great players, a lot of great teams. But if you look at it and take a look around at what's around you, there is greatness around you. You know what I mean?
Yep, it's just not jumbled up like it used to be. There's no room for those super teams no more.
No.
Superstars are spaced out. There's other teams. These small market guys got them superstars. It's not just the large markets out there playing for championships like the old days. I mean, it kills me when these non-basketball fans sit there and cry because it's Indiana and Oklahoma City, two small markets. That was some good basketball that was being
Yes,
played.
it was.
I mean, that's, as a basketball fan, not a sports geographical thing. I don't care about small market, big market. I just want the NBA's best offense, the Pacers, versus the NBA's best defense, versus the Thunder. The most valuable player of the league, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, versus Tyrese Halliburton, the best clutch players in the player in the playoffs. I mean, that's what I wanted to see, and that's what we got. I don't care about small market, big market. Who gives a crock of crap about any of that shit? I just want some good basketball being played as a fan, and that's
I
what.
absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And again, and this is the problem with these casual fans that don't tune into it like we do. We want to see what's the best, for sports. We don't want to see, you know, these big market teams all the time, because if it's the same teams going to these finals all the time, consecutive years, it kind of gets boring but the NBA hasn't had to worry about that because for 7 consecutive years, we have had different champions. And it is so good to see that there is parity in all leagues, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, MLB.
But
Anybody has a chance to win. It doesn't
now,
matter how big the
uh,
market or small the market is. Go ahead.
Now, up to last year, the NFL was starting to get like that because you already knew Kansas City was going to be in it. So, but because the Eagles whooped the shit out of them, that gave us some hope as NFL fans. So, hey, maybe we can change. Maybe it can be unpredictable. Basketball's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to make the finals. I mean, you see how many people count the Thunder out because they thought the Lakers or the Rockets or the Timberwolves. I mean, you never knew. You never knew.
Some
Now,
people even pick Denver.
yep, Denver had a shot. Denver's still going to have a shot going forward. They got Nikola Jokic. They got the best player in the world. I mean, you're always going to have a shot with him.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the NBA, it's so much unpredictable because even then, as great as that Warrior team was, that wasn't a good time to watch basketball. I mean, it's good. It was good to watch Warriors games because they were fun, but it wasn't a good time for unpredictability. You knew who was going to the finals. You knew LeBron was the king of the East. You knew LeBron was going to sit there and dominate every team in the East, and you knew the Warriors were going to run through the West and run through LeBron. It was like that every single year. And then when Durant came, it was like, oh, you knew the result. I mean, even when the Rockets were up 3-2 on the Warriors, did anybody really still doubt the Warriors? I mean, I seen people still, including everybody on First Take, picking Warriors in 7. They're like, oh man, they're gonna win them next 2. They ain't worried about it. It was so you knew what was gonna happen. I said it, but now 7 different champions in 7 years is something else. I mean,
It's something to believe and it's something to behold because it's never happened. I mean, because now the Knicks of the world, the Nuggets again, or just anybody has a shot. I mean,
all those smaller market teams. I mean,
Indiana won 3 games in the finals. They were a game away from winning a championship. If the Pacers can come within a game of winning a championship, anybody can win a championship.
yep.
Well, except if you're the Hornets and you're the the Hornets and the God, who's the other team? Who's the Jazz? The
Oh,
Jazz.
the Jazz.
Oh,
But so I guess the Hornets would be out of the Damian Lillard sweepstakes then, huh?
yes. I think Damian Lillard would
Yeah,
be
I
out the
don't think the
sweepstakes.
Hornets are gonna get Damian Lillard. They're just
No.
they're in basketball hell.
And see, I thought about that too because we talked about it last week. Like Durant was having the hope that somebody was going to pull the trigger, and make the move to make the most sense. And the Rockets made the right move. But
Yep.
Damian Lillard, he's not tied to the Bucks, on trading him. He can sign with whoever he wants.
Yep.
And again, we're going to be covering this, as the weeks progress because that is going to be a big headline. Is where will Lillard, try saying that fast, where will Lillard play next season? Only time will tell. And
Yep.
we will be covering it. And this has been a lot of fun doing these top fives. And obviously, like we talked about last week, we will be beginning our NFL season previews on August the 5th. And also, I will make this announcement right here. after we are done making our predictions on the conferences in both the AFC and the NFC, the week of the NFL season when it starts, not only are we going to pick, obviously, our playoffs, but I want to do another top five. And that top five is what top five players are going to have the best seasons for 2025, 26. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do that. And it's hard to believe that we are halfway through now the sports calendar year and the year in general of 2025. It is amazing how time just goes by so quick. And just man, just crazy. Anyways, Kev, anything else you want to talk about before we get off the air?
I think I'm good, man.
I think I'm good too. Again, unfortunately, Ezra, due to not feeling good and under the weather, trust me, I've been there before. Sinus problems during the summer, it ain't fun. Ooh.
Hey, don't feel bad. By week 12, the Steelers are going to be under the weather because Aaron Rodgers is going to be somewhere in his darkness retreat, and Jalen Ramsey's going to be burnt toast. So,
yeah, he's going to be burnt to a crispy. But yeah, unfortunately, as they're not feeling good, hopefully you're feeling better. You know, dude, no, sinus problems during the summer is not fun. Trust me, it happened to me back when the summer started. Ugh, not fun.
just imagine that, though. Why? I'm getting off topic, but imagine that. Why in the hell are the Steelers got Jalen Ramsey to go twice a year chase around T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? I just want to know what was.
Oh, that's a good
Here,
point.
you old man, go chase down the Triple Crown winner from last year, Jamar Chase. Go ahead and guard him 1-on-1. See how that ends up for you, buddy. Here, you go chase Lamar Jackson twice a year. Here, you go to. Well, you just go to Cleveland twice a year. There ain't nobody around in Cleveland. You just go to Cleveland twice a year. I don't know.
But the Ravens and the Bengals, nah, good luck with that. So like
good luck with them offenses.
Yeah.
I don't know what that theory is.
I got a theory. It doesn't matter. But anyways, hope to see Ez and Joey back on the show next week. Joe, we couldn't make it tonight, but thank you to those gentlemen for giving their top fives on their championship teams in the NBA. And this has been a lot of fun. Again, you can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesday nights at YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And also, don't forget to follow our individual accounts on Twitter. I am at Steven_Wyand. Kevin is at that Niner Gang 10. Joey's at the Roll_Tide 1992. And Ezra is at Deadman469. Also, don't forget to follow Hijacker Mike on Twitter at Mr. Mac. And also don't forget to follow his cigar page on Twitter and YouTube, Smoke in the Bay, THA Bay. And if you are a fine cigar aficionado and you love all fine things cigars, Hijacker Mike's got you covered. And looking forward to as we continue in the offseason with the NBA, and I am pretty sure that there's going to be a lot more moves being made. Also, news earlier that I talked about that JJ Barea is a coach assistant with the Nuggets now. That's very cool that Barea making moves in the offseason as he does. Not only was he a great role player, but he's also pretty sure going to be a good coach for Denver as an assistant. And again, we would be monitoring all of the news happening. And also, I do want to mention this real quick. At UFC 317, Oliveira got knocked the hell out. That's right. Charles Oliveira got knocked the hell out in the first round.
Ooh.
Like, he was told, hey, I'm going to knock you out. And he got knocked out in the first round. Like, it was not even close. Like, that, if the right hand didn't already do it, but that left hand, oh, that did it. That absolutely did it. I mean, just a stunner in that main event with Oliveira getting knocked out. And I think it's time for him to probably call it a career in MMA. I mean, that was crazy. The fact that Oliveira got knocked the hell out in the first round. Stunning. But anyways, that is going to do it for us here today. Again, thank you to everybody for joining us here in the live portion of today's show. And we look forward to being back on here live with you next week. And next week I will be on the road doing the show from Lexington, Kentucky. So I will be in Kentucky for a couple of days next week. I'm going to be at the Creed show with opening up as Wolfgang Van Halen's band Mammoth, and Chris Daughtry's band is opening up, and Creed is starting off their 2025 Summer '99 tour next week. So I'm going to be in the hotel next week doing the show with you guys next week. So I'm looking forward to that next week. And also, if you want to follow our social media accounts, be sure to check us out. Posting wrestling stuff and sports stuff and all the type of stuff. And again, shout out to the guys at Busted Open and to everybody at Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7, a all pro wrestling channel talking about all things RASSLIN. That's wrestling. And channel 156 on your Sirius XM dial. And that is going to do it for myself. I've been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand, and for K-Rock, Kevin Rory, and myself, Stephen Wyand, along with our boys, Ezra Vickery, JT, Joey Thornton, Hijacker Mike, signing out. Enjoy the rest of your week. And also, real quick, before we go, have to mention this. We would not be doing none of this if it wasn't for our fighting men and women. Because, as we all know, this Friday is July the 4th. And we do not take this life for granted. Because without those brave men and women, we would not be doing the things that we love in this thing that we called life. And if you see a man, a woman who served in the army, who served this country, shake their hands. Thank them for their services. Be kind to a veteran. Because once a veteran, always a veteran. And I have family who served. I have friends who served. And I love this country. I love what we have. And we wouldn't have the things that we have if it wasn't for these brave men and women who have paved the ultimate sacrifice. So for those that are no longer here, thank you for showing your patriotic, beliefs in this country. Your patriotism does not come, for granted. We completely salute, this country, because without these people, we're nothing. Because our freedoms, they don't come free. They come with a price. And these brave men and women are willing to pave the ultimate sacrifice and to fight and protect what we have in this country. So God bless America. God bless the United States of America. And God bless our troops for battling out there and protecting us. And for those that are still serving, thank you very much. For those that did serve that are no longer with us, or for those that retired and made it fortunately alive out of serving. Thank you. Thank you to everybody for doing what is right for our country, and that is protecting us from evil. And again, for everybody that is out there celebrating this weekend, do not forget what this holiday is all about. If you're out there grilling with your family and your friends, have a lot of fun. If you are going to drink, do not drink and drive. Give the keys to your buddy, to your family member, whoever. Have fun with responsibility. Be a responsible adult. Don't do anything stupid. Have a lot of fun this upcoming 4th of July weekend. And again, thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you for everybody that tunes in on demand. For myself, Stephen Wyand, K-Rock, Kevin Rory, for JT, Joey Thornton, and for Ezra Vickery and Hijacker Mike, this is our Nation Sports Show. And we will see you next week for another edition of the Sports Show as we continue our coverage of the NBA offseason and so much more. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Turn me up. Turn me up.